Hi, friends. Welcome to another episode of Mountain Standard True Crime. I'm Michelle Carlson. Thank you for watching and or listening. If you're watching this on video, you can see that we've changed the background, which I like a lot better. It's a lot less cluttery. We've also made several acoustic improvements, so hopefully that will help with the quality of the audio as well. So in today's episode, we are going to talk about an update in a case that we brought you back in November of 2024, the brutal beating of Preston Lord. Before we get started, I want to warn everybody that there is some disturbing content in this episode, as well as most, if not all, of our episodes. It is definitely not appropriate for children. All of the information that we share comes from publicly available sources and or official records requests. And I offer my opinion a lot, and my feelings and my thoughts, and they are simply just that and are not intended to be interpreted as fact. We are going to link the full episode of the brutal beating death of Preston Lord to the end of this episode. From all accounts, he was a great kid with a very bright future ahead of him before his life was taken from him in brutal fashion. This is the first of what we expect to be many updates in this case. We hope, again, that you'll watch the full episode to learn a little bit more about Preston Lord that is linked at the end of this episode. And here we go. On May 2nd, 2025, 19-year-old William Owen Hines, sounds like he went by Owen, was sentenced for his part of the October 2023 brutal physical attack and beating of Preston Lord that resulted in traumatic brain injuries, leading to his very untimely death at the age of only 16 years old. Hines and 6 other Arizona teenagers were charged with Preston's death, which occurred in the street outside of a Halloween house party. All of them initially pleaded not guilty. The group were all known members of the violent street gang called the Gilbert Goons. They were responsible for a string of violent beatings of local teenagers in the prestigious Queen Creek and Gilbert, Arizona area for over a year prior to the tragic death of Preston Lord. Hines was the first of 7 members of the Gilbert Goons charged with first-degree murder in Lord's death to change his not guilty plea into an admission of guilt as part of a plea deal. He pleaded guilty to manslaughter and agreed to spend the next 10.5 to 21 years in state prison as part of a deal with prosecutors. Hines also pleaded guilty for his role in 2 other non-fatal Goons attacks in 2022 and for hitting another car, injuring a teenager while he was driving under the influence in 2023. Hines agreed to plead guilty to manslaughter in the Preston Lord case during a settlement conference in March. He told Judge McCoy that he was haunted by his role in the killing. He said he was in the throes of multiple addictions, drugs, alcohol, and hallucinogens when he and other goons punched, kicked, and stomped Lord and left him lying in the street. It still just makes me sick that they would do that to somebody. They didn't even know him before this evening, and you'll hear that in the full episode if you listen to it and or watch it. 19-year-old Hines was sentenced on May 2nd to 12 years in prison for manslaughter for his part in the brutal beating death of Preston Lord. He got another 5 years for aggravated assault after being indicted by a grand jury for vehicular aggravated assault from the incident on July 6, 2023, where he was driving drunk. He ran a red light, hit another vehicle that teenager Benjamin Michael Zazik was in, resulting in injuries to Zazik. I have read that Zazik sustained both physical and traumatic brain injuries in that accident, but I've not been able to conclude if he suffered one or the other or both types of injuries. I just want to point out that this was only a little over 3 months before the attack on Preston Lord. It appears that Zazik is still recovering from injuries sustained in the accident. I hope he's able to make a full recovery and go on to live his full potential. as quickly as possible. Maricopa County Superior Court Judge Scott McCoy said the prison terms would be consecutive and include 456 days for time served, followed by at least 3 years of probation. At the end of a nearly 3-hour hearing in a courtroom packed with Lord's family, friends, and community activists, Judge McCoy said, quote, "It is my sincere hope that what we do here today is the first step for all of you on the road to healing." McCoy said he was forced to weigh Hines' willingness to take responsibility, his age, and his history of addiction against his willingness to engage in repeated assaults and the substantial pain he caused. Quote, "I don't know that I've seen anyone more anxious to plead guilty," McCoy said. He noted Hines had many chances to correct his behavior after run-ins with the law, but still participated in Lord's beating death. Other victims of beatings by the Gilbert Goons were in attendance, as well as Lord's parents and grandfather, who all addressed the court and asked for the maximum sentence of 21 years. Their statements were followed by a video montage of Lord. Quote, "There are no words that can truly capture the pain of losing our son," Preston's stepmother, Melissa Caconti, told the court. "William Owen Hines, you took away his future. I want you to feel the weight of the pain you have caused." She said, "I hope that every day for the rest of your life, you remember his name, his face, and the life you took." After the hearing, Preston's father, Nick Lord, spoke about how proud he was of his son and how his world had been shattered. Quote, "As we stand here today, I have no words of forgiveness." He said he was not disappointed by the sentence, but said he would never be satisfied, that no sentence would ever be long enough. "I'm not going to say that I am pleased," Nick said. "We have all accepted the terms of the plea deal." Nick Lord said his family was bracing itself for the next cases and making sure the other 6 defendants accused in his son's beating are held accountable. Quote, "I am prepared to do whatever it takes," he said. Preston Lord's grandfather, Tony Reich, said Hines' actions undermined his words of contrition. He said Hines was only remorseful because he got caught. Quote, "His crocodile tears when he changed his plea to guilty to manslaughter and to the other attacks really mean nothing to me or to his victims and their families," Reich said. He echoed the sentiments of his son Nick, saying that Hines' sentence was okay and that he would, quote, "accept it." You can see in the images that Preston's family and friends are often wearing orange, as it was his favorite color. Grandfather Reich said Gilbert officials also need to be held accountable for turning a blind eye to the string of attacks by the Goons for more than a year before his grandson was killed, and that Gilbert police and the city council and the Gilbert city manager all need to be held accountable for their lack of action. He said, quote, "I still think if they'd done their jobs, he'd still be around," end quote. He said there were more important things to do now, including ensuring the passage of Preston's Law. That bill, which would make criminal sentences tougher for people found guilty of participating in group attacks, was being considered by the legislature. And I'm pleased to inform you that Preston's Law was signed into law on May 12th by Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs. The new legislation establishes harsher penalties for aggressors in lopsided assaults, also known as swarming. State Representative Matt Gress, who was the bill's sponsor, said, quote, "Preston's Law ensures that those who commit violent acts as a group will face real consequences." He said, quote, "We've seen what happens when mobs believe they can act with impunity. This law sends a clear message. If you gang up to hurt someone, you will be held accountable. Arizona will not tolerate organized violence in our communities. It's nice to see something good come out of something so horribly tragic." I 100% agree with that. I also agree that there should have been more focus on doing something about these teenagers running around causing chaos. I know that there were a lot of parents of the victims that had complained. When they did eventually start digging into the case, they found video of very violent and brutal attacks. So I'm really relieved to see some of these assailants finally getting the justice that the family deserves to see them get. As I said in the beginning of this episode, I will continue to keep you informed of any updates in this case. This episode is dedicated to Preston Lord and his loved ones. If you haven't yet subscribed to our channel, please do so. We would really appreciate it. It really helps us out a lot. You can also follow us on Spotify, and we would love it if you would share. There are true crime friends and fans everywhere. So if you would share our YouTube channel and our episodes, that would help us out a lot, and we would really appreciate it. Until the next episode, please be aware of your surroundings, stay safe, and take care of yourselves.